See, they got all their, so people that are online, rather than relying on people.
I feel like a lot of people won't read this,
No, this is neat.
this part.
If you were in the garden center and you had all that in your pocket, in your car,
I think I downloaded that after you gave it to me.
did you?
I think I did, somewhere.
So this is on the website that we linked to, this
I
thing.
figured they just took it
That's
from
what it
somewhere.
is.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
it was sitting in the Restore shop as you're leaving
Oh,
in
cool.
between there. People
Okay.
were grabbing it.
That's great. Cool.
I mean, it wouldn't be cheap for that. That's for sure.
No, I think they should also do like a quick to read brochure though, right? Like bullet points.
Mike, that thing that I read about where the
This
council
is
did
great,
Isn't it?
like a
Yeah.
checklist for something downstairs in the building department. Do you remember, they did something down there for stuff that, new construction, they have to, there's a checklist for that?
Yes.
Is that something that we could include, all the stuff that we have?
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe we can
Yeah,
get
absolutely.
them.
I mean, I don't know whether they did that.
Give
Intended to be edited to include,
I mean, stuff that we know that we don't want them to do this, you know, just a very basic stuff, you know?
yeah, and, no, I don't think that there's a problem with it making it too voluminous.
Like
And
this
maybe
is like
I
just have to
overkill
look
so
to
much.
make sure it was intended.
Okay.
Like no, people don't.
I think it's a
know.
great idea. I mean, it's a great idea just to put it in there.
But if you
Maureen
Like
is
simplify,
putting it
this
together.
is the
Okay.
part.
right, we took it to the.
I'll check with her, just make sure that that is on the schedule,
My whole
but
thing is,
All
I
right.
think we need to start.
it's the intent to have all the stuff.
To give us an opportunity to submit something that's included in the checklist.
And they make sure that the builders and
Yeah.
you know, the owners.
All right.
And I've been
Okay, it's, what
picking up
time is it
ivy.
here? 11:01. Good to see everybody. We'll call the meeting to order. Pledge of allegiance, please.
Turn your mics on.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, I guess, or you have everybody?
I have that, thank you.
Okay. We have the minutes of May 23rd. Would anyone like to make a motion or have a comment? Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved?
My second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We had one, the planning board report, we had the Mahala Motel came forward. They did some renovations to their pool, and they're going to be doing some kind of a water thing over their pool, kind of like a fountain type thing. And it was approved, and we had submitted a report, and they are going to absolutely abide by part of what Gretchen's report said. We strongly suggest using different landscape plants that are seaside natives and drought tolerant. And he said he's already started that process because he got this in the mail. So he's already started that. And it was approved, by the way.
Spell the name of the place?
Mohala, M-A-H-O-L-A.
Oh, yeah, it's that newer
It's the old- yeah,
renovation
yes.
on Beach.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really do anything to the units themselves.
Free.
Yeah, they just did the pool decking, they expanded it a little bit, and then they're gonna be putting some kind of
Volcano.
It looks nice.
it is, look, he does a good job.
Yeah, it's,
Everything he does.
it's a water feature, but I think they called it.
It's like a cascading
it's a-
thing.
Like a trellis,
Yeah, it's a trellis, kind of water cascades down. It'll be,
Yes, yeah.
you know, something cool, I guess. The kids, I guess, could get underneath it, I suppose, I don't know. Anyway, but that was approved, and he's already said he's gonna take care of making sure that whatever he does plant-wise, it conforms to this. It's part of his approval. Mike, you have any comments, any report at all? Council?
Well, I think I can't tell you a whole lot about the beach, the dune replenishment. I think because we still have issues with permits there. And there's work going on, but a lot of work has been stopped because of a lack of permits. But I can also tell you that all of that's being pursued, so the rest of the project can move along. So the second thing that was on the agenda for me to talk about was the desal plant. And not much has been happening, but we're just 2 days early. I'm going to a meeting with CME Associates. They're the engineers that have designed the plant, the basic overall layout of the plant. And I think we're beginning to get into more details in design work. Still haven't come up with how much funding, but we're getting into the details on design work on Friday. So I don't know what time the meeting is yet, but Zach asked me to be there on Friday.
What's the name of the company?
CME.
CME.
Yeah, I think this might be Associates.
Okay. So this Friday,
This Friday, there will be a meeting with the engineers, yes.
Is that Nick Asalta's group? Is that, do you know Nick Asalta?
I think it is. I think it is. yeah.
Remember that?
So we should move that item to next month.
Yes, I should definitely have a report for next month. And I don't know, are we talking tonight about, everybody, of course, is aware of the new pool rule. So what happened is on that last meeting, there was an ordinance that required the people who were putting in new pools to have not only fencing, of course, which has always been required by law, but plantings that would basically screen the neighbors and streets all around on three sides from everybody else, basically as a courtesy, as a noise break, et cetera.
Their yard boundaries or the pool boundaries?
The pool boundaries. But when in there, the mayor asked the question, by the way, one of the requirements was to have an irrigation system. Sounds like, well, wait a minute, we want drought-tolerant plants installed everywhere, and we're telling them to put in an irrigation system, but it does make sense. The point of the irrigation system is, of course, to be sure that the screen stays in place, but also that it's not, it's one that's water sensitive, where you don't overwater plants that don't need the watering. So I requested that. Actually, I'm sorry, I offered up the commission's services to make recommendations as to what types of plantings people may use as screening. So we're not talking about, it can't be low stuff, we're talking about stuff that'll grow to 6 feet high. And the homeowner is not going to be forced to use these. We just want the ordinance to say that we strongly recommend that you use these types of plants to meet this requirement. It can be used in a combination with another type of plant, but we want drought-tolerant, native plants
I can help with that.
around.
Do we need input, like, right away? How soon do you want this done? Can we,
The sooner the better, but I think we have 2 more readings, so.
okay.
Or we have a reading and then we have a final. That takes,
So can we put this for the agenda for approval for next month? Can we do that?
I think so. Yeah, and if we're not ready, I'll ask them to hold off. But yeah, no, I think put it on this agenda for next month would be good.
Let's just make sure that at our next meeting, we're all going to be able to say, we want these plants planted, to give it to you. All right?
That would be excellent.
Everybody,
This is not a physical barrier, it's just for aesthetic purposes or to protect the neighbors?
It's really, it's noise barrier, and it is a visible barrier.
Visible.
Yes, I
Not
mean,
physical.
it's one where you're not looking at all the activity going on around the pool, but it's more of a noise barrier than anything. And, not many people want a pool put next to their property.
So I'm just trying to picture this. If you have a fence, so you have like concrete decking around the pool, so it's probably going to have to be outside the fence then, right? Is that the way people would look at that? Some kind of a,
Typically, it should, I would tell you, it should be outside the fence, yes.
on the inside, you're going to be, your concrete's right there, unless you cut off
Yeah.
concrete a little bit before the fence, I suppose you could do.
Well, like, my yard is, the fence goes all the way around the yard. It's pretty far away from the pool.
Seems
but-
up to the homeowner.
Yeah,
to
okay.
determine.
Yeah, but it's, so it's not, and oh, by the way, this has to be 4 feet wide as well, at least 4 feet wide. It can be wider. But, yeah, no, it's on all the plantings are outside the
4
fence.
foot wide, the barrier?
Planting.
Planting.
The planting area has to be 4 feet
Trees.
wide.
We're talking
Looking for
trees, not
trees.
plants, right?
Or large shrubs,
It's-
like akubas, or,
Well, you know what mine looks like.
Some kind of arborvitae, you got
Arborvitae, yeah. And this can be in combination with, a few
that's pretty
arborvitae.
easy then. We don't, but that's pretty easy.
Mike, did they also adjust the barrier
That kind of clarifies it a little bit.
10 feet or?
I mean, we're looking for something that's really going to grow.
No, they did not adjust it, but it is, it's 10 feet from your side yards and backyards. It is 10 feet all the way around. They didn't change it.
Okay.
on that note, I was contacted by our mayor.
Okay.
Asked for, this is not on the agenda, but for the commission to explore an ordinance regarding pools that increases the coverage percentage to 115% for pools. So in terms of like zoning or planning, it would change the way that coverage is calculated. I guess his thought was that we are not going to tell people as a city that they can't have a pool, but if we can change the way that it's calculated, then we may be able to discourage it.
So we're going to put something together and then going to present it to the
I
planning board,
don't
something like that?
know. It was,
Has to go to the planning board,
I
for
was
sure.
asked to present the idea to the Environmental Commission.
Okay.
So there we have it.
So
That's all I know.
basically, it's an environmental commission idea to suggest to the council.
Exactly.
Okay. And I can take that back. I don't know if he's asking you to draft something, which would be fine, but,
Probably.
okay. You can just something brief and,
Committee meeting.
I know.
We have a subcommittee.
or he didn't ask you to go to the planning board, though?
No, not
Just
yet.
wants the groundwork.
Yeah, he wants the ball rolling.
Okay. And so that would be something that we would take back. It would be a matter of discussion, and then we would suggest that it go to the planning board.
Okay.
Is what it sounds like.
And then the
And-
planning board, it goes to council to approve or not, though, right?
Not, the
Or-
planning board,
Would be the first step they'd go to, and then we would
Yes.
recommend what it is, and then the council would then have to make the final
Any
approval.
chance they might approve something like that?
Who, the planning board?
Yeah.
Sure, if it's, they'd hear it.
yeah, I mean,
You'd have to
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised, because we really are at the point where we should be discouraging pools.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
And I don't
It's
know
the-
what direction the planning board would take, but certainly that's the step where that would go to. Initially, well, I don't think it's zoning board, I think the planning board had the final say on
I
that.
think so.
Or make the recommendation, and the council would have the final say, one way or
yeah,
another.
council
Yeah.
probably.
Well, can you say that again? What you were saying that somebody came to you and said they wanted something recommended about the pools, the size of the pool?
Yeah, the coverage, the lot coverage percentage.
Okay.
For pools to count for 115% of its size, rather than 100% of its size, so that the total
So,
lot
okay.
calculations change, because only a certain percentage of a lot.
Is a pool considered
it's-
non-permeable?
I was hearing it differently, I guess. I was thinking that didn't make sense, but he's saying the pool size add 15% more on top of it to count on lot coverage.
All right, but does the pool size, incorporate the cement pad?
No, it includes the apron.
So that is the, yes.
So in other words, every pool has an apron around it, which is typically a foot to a foot and a half. And coping, it's the coping, but everything else, no, that's a separate thing. If it's concrete, it's impervious, but people use pavers, and then it's semi-impervious, and lot coverage is calculated that way. But when you build a pool, the size of the pool is calculated by the actual pool dimensions plus the coping which goes around the pools. So the whole thing, and that's also what they use as the distances from the side yards and the house and the backyard.
The
Pool
apron.
plus coping,
Yeah.
the apron, yeah.
I have a silly question. These are in-ground pools.
Yes.
We're not talking
Yeah,
about above ground.
totally different story with above ground.
Okay.
Well, and also, so is this something that we might recommend to add to that ordinance that we just got?
So
Is that
I
something there?
think that
Or no, it's
that
different?
ordinance is what triggered this thought,
Okay.
but that it's likely way too late and also kind of unrelated
Okay, gotcha.
trees. I think maybe we
Right,
should
this is
just
more-
plan something separate, yeah. So,
I mean, ultimately, the planning board's going to have to have a presentation. Ultimately, the planning board, with their engineer, would have to make recommendations that the zoning be changed, if it wants to go that far, okay? And if we decide to to make a resolution to that effect, then it would have to go to council for approval, okay? They may say no. They may say, no, we don't want it. I don't know I don't know why they want this done, but you're right. Pools have always been a bone of contention around here.
so let's try for it.
Oh, it's up.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I think
We
you,
get the
I think you
ball
have to.
Yeah, well.
I think,
ask
it, you know, the commission is probably the main, it's the main body that should be steering the city in that direction.
Okay, so
Sure.
we need a subcommittee.
I'll do it.
I'm sorry, so,
I'll help you.
Yeah, well, you're on planning, right? You can
wait,
help us?
so we're now having somebody make a motion? Who's making the motion?
For,
I'll make the motion.
The 115%. Okay, Justine.
1.15.
Okay,
It could be 110. I mean, I guess right? I mean, somebody just came up with 115 arbitrarily.
Yeah.
Just to, right, encourage or discourage.
Right, to
pools more than-
discourage.
Yeah, okay.
'Cause they're-
all
that way
right,
they're
so
not
do
gonna
we
be
have
sandwiched.
anybody who's going to,
I better stay off that committee.
yes?
Can you advise us, though?
I'll sit in, yeah, I'll sit.
Okay.
Okay, I need a first and a second.
I will second.
You'll first.
I'll be first.
Okay, I'll be second. And
Okay,
this is just to look into it and form a subcommittee, just to,
Form the presentation for planning, for the planning board.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mike, hasn't there just been recently a pool application that was turned down in Village Green?
For what?
There was an in-ground pool, the application was denied.
Village Green.
In
It's been on zoning, it wasn't for planning.
It must have been zoning. then.
Village Green,
Right, because.
yeah, Village Green is, they're not allowed. It's a law. I mean, the zoning law. There is no pools in that
Really?
area are allowed.
So it's kind of hard and fast.
And it was it was like one of the larger
Lots.
properties in Village Green, and they thought they'd give it a go, but it was a 7-0 no.
The zoning board.
Wow.
Yes, the zoning board.
All right.
Okay, so there's precedents that,
Yeah.
pools are,
All right,
Okay, so just get in touch with people if you want to discuss it.
okay.
All right?
Better get your pool built fast.
Okay, next on the agenda, Justine, you want to give us a status of that brochure?
Yep, I updated the brochure with the Jersey Yards website and the QR code, which I finally learned how to make.
Great.
And I submitted the final draft to the Inkwell. So I'm waiting for an update from Heidi on estimated, complete date, pickup date, but everything's a go there, so
And how many copies did we get?
7,500. And this should last us a few years.
Yeah.
So it's great. Yeah, so after we get them, we can follow up on seeing if we can fold them into the water bills or have them distributed throughout the city at the various centers and kiosks. And we can put together a subcommittee for landscaping and garden supply companies, but I'll email the commission with an update on the pickup date for the brochures as soon as I hear back from Heidi.
Okay.
Is this also on the website? The city website?
I don't know. That was not in my task list.
This is just for the brochure.
Yeah, just the brochure printing. I can contact the city to have it uploaded on the website, but I didn't know I was supposed to do that.
All right, but I mean, the bike map is on the website,
Yeah, no, it's a good idea.
Yeah, it surely should be there. I agree with you.
and
Yeah.
this would cover a different base. I'm sorry for butting in, but just a
No, no.
suggestion.
It was something we discussed at the last meeting. I don't remember who was in
I guess
charge
that would have
of
to go to the clerk, then I
taking
assume.
care of that.
Okay, because I think there's somebody doing the website now. There had been
The city.
Okay, so I can email it over. Who do
Email
I?
it to the final to all of us, too?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
I would contact the clerk, Erin Burke.
Contact Erin. Okay, send
And
Erin.
just send her, tell her, you want to put this on the website. And then just give her a copy of it, or the PDF, whatever it is, whatever she
Okay.
needs.
Okay, no problem.
Maybe
I
you'll
don't-
make a PDF if you need it.
So I will send it as a PDF,
Yes.
but in the future, if you want to make one, when you go to File, scroll down and go to Export As, and then it'll give you a choice, like JPEG, PDF, Word file. You can choose which file type.
Okay, because she made the PDF for the city with the bike map.
Yeah, it is already saved as a PDF.
Okay.
Nobody has a problem with putting it on the website, do you? Our brochure? I don't think so. I think it's a
No.
good idea.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Okay. Okay. Gretchen's not here about the Ocean Fest, June 17th.
Do you want to do anything about the public service ads, or is that?
Oh, yeah. They were submitted. I don't know if you guys were all following the email thread, but the water conservation flyer and the invasive species flyer were submitted to the Star and Wave. They're running a quarter-page PSA every week and alternating which one
Will
they're
it start this
featuring.
week, do you think?
It should,
Should?
yep.
Right.
And actually works in our favor. John's great and really likes the work we're doing, and if he needs to fill some space, he's going to make it even bigger with no additional charge. Yes, so this week it is even bigger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep. Yeah, and that's it. Actually, I should email those to the city as well for the website, especially the water one.
Yes, the water one.
That would be great.
Okay.
Yes, and then over to.
Okay.
Is there any report, I think, on the Ocean Fest at all? Anybody have anything to say?
We were there.
We're there.
Good.
Okay. Go ahead, Charlotte, go ahead.
So this item that I am responding to, I don't know if this fits into the agenda at this moment, but tell me, Mike, do you want to go on with some other things? I just want to follow up on conservation of water in the city. When you're
That last item, we have formation of new subcommittees. I'm not sure what we're talking about here.
The dark sky ordinance.
This dark sky ordinance.
So
Charlotte, we'll get
that-
back to you. Hold it, just hang on. Okay.
So both of those items also relate to requests from members of council
Okay.
for the Environmental Commission to explore and pursue. So the first one, our mayor is requesting a dark sky ordinance.
Which is,
Basically, something that, a policy that regulates how bright lights can be, how late at night. So bright lights are not only intrusive for people sleeping, there are people spouting off all the time about the grand lights, but also they're disruptive to migratory species. So there are tons of municipalities that have already adopted something like this. I think we can probably
Piggyback,
tweak, and it won't take a lot of legwork.
I know the ordinance has info on lights and how bright they can be and the heights and all that kind of stuff. Is this something in addition to all that?
It must be, because there have been many complaints
Okay.
about the grand lights, and there's nothing that can be done because they're still within side of regulations. And I don't know if anyone's been by it, but they're so bright, they cast a shadow at night. And from an environmental standpoint, I guess they impact
I don't have a problem. It's a
birds
good
and
idea.
butterflies.
So can we try and, let's try and locate some ordinances from around?
I actually did a little research, and there's an Illuminating Engineering Society. It's International Dark Sky Association, and they did this, a model lighting ordinance user's guide, with the user's guide. This was done back in like 2011. So they did caveat that it's not up to date as far as LED lights and things like that, but it's a really good start.
Okay.
So I'll do a little more research on that.
Do you want to potentially lead that subcommittee?
I will.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Great,
Good.
thank you.
I'm going to take something off your plate.
Cool.
I can do that.
Okay.
The mayor thinks.
Yeah, it's actually extremely extensive. It's a lot more than you think, and it's just about like shielding lights and all kinds of different things. But I will read
Okay.
more into this and get some ideas for next week.
Yeah, I think they're likely looking for something that limits, how many lumens
Yep.
a light can be after the hours of,
Yeah,
8
agreed.
PM or something. I don't know if anyone's been under the arches at night, but they're nice and dim while still being bright enough. It's
Yeah.
kind of
I
lovely.
think this whole ordinance, it also addresses, obviously, public safety at night too and stuff, but also still being very environmentally sensitive and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really quite
Once you
extensive.
get that, once you get a couple of those ordinances, I'd like to be curious how it
I'll,
stacks up with our current ordinance.
True.
of
I'll get a
what we
copy of
do.
that.
We do have, I know we have stuff in there about the lumens and how bright and how high the stanchions can be, and maybe that's for new construction, could be. I don't know, but there is something in there about
That's
that.
always been part of the planning board.
I understand that, but
Right.
now, for whatever reason, let's just see what let's just
No,
see
but
what
I'm
where it
just
goes.
mentioning, I remember that from,
Oh, I know.
Maybe there's
I'll send this whole thing, I'll
between
send this user guide out
city
to everybody too.
property, or like city lights and then residential lights, or
Well, we
like
still cover
commercial
it, we still
lights?
cover the whole gamut.
You would think it
Maybe just
Correction.
new construction that we've
a
dealt with this
guest
primarily.
speaker
I don't-
at the
Okay.
Nature Center who talked about dark skies. So
Oh, very
you
cool.
might reach out to her and get
Okay.
that
This
person.
is a good exploration, by the way. This is a good idea, really it is.
And there's a wealth
Yeah,
of
yeah, sure.
information.
Go ahead.
So I would like to suggest at this point that Craig Hurlis, our city planner, certainly might know about some of our past ordinances. And he might be the professional that you might like to check with to see what we already have. And how the
Yeah.
enforcement, if it doesn't seem strong enough, could be then proposed to council.
That was the next step that I was going to say. Let's get the ordinance first, the way it reads, and then we can, Craig is the obvious one to talk to, because he knows that ordinance in and out, our ordinance. Craig Hurlis,
Exactly.
Hurliss. He's our planning board engineer.
And as a side note, that there's a wealth of academic information out there about towers and lighting and interference with migratory birds. Michigan State University is quite
Yeah.
very, has done a lot of studies. They've done studies here in Cape May, and about bird strikes and towers. So, I mean, there's information out there. We're talking more about a public nuisance right now, not necessarily, I mean, we can twist in the migratory bird issue, which is quite important, actually.
And the second item there about the electric vehicle ordinance?
Yeah, that was just suggested that the Environmental Commission write a letter of thanks, a public letter of thanks to the police department. I guess that there has been some desire for that from us, a pat on the back kind of thing, so.
Anybody want to step forward to draft that letter?
Sure.
Good.
All right,
some time.
I'll draft, but I'm such a Luddite, I don't have an email account.
How about your wife? Does your wife have an email account?
Yes,
Get her
so
to do it.
I'll work on something.
Okay. Great.
Is there any particulars, I mean, or is it on the city website? Like, how many vehicles?
Oh, yeah, we'll have to get all that information to you. And then perhaps we could place the letter somewhere
In the Star and Wave?
in the Star and Wave.
Like an editorial.
Yeah.
How would we find out what actually we purchased or what we did, Mike? What do you
Mike,
think? Mike,
can
any
you
idea
do
where we
that?
got our electric vehicles? How many?
How
How
many?
Yeah.
How many,
Is
what
there one? I
kinds?
think there's one.
We have one Mustang, but we ordered other F-150s, and we can't get them. So
take forever.
it'll be a while.
How about, Deacon will be on top of that, right? Deacon?
Yeah.
Well, I could you could make it,
Sure, we just have, I think we can get, I'm sorry, we may have hybrids as well, but we just have the one electric Mustang that, I believe, one of the.
What I would do is I would call the police department, and Deacon Bashal is the captain, but get his secretary or somebody over there or his assistant over there, and she'll.
I can also make it generic. Thank you for the,
Well, let's get a little more pertinent
yeah,
about it.
concerted effort of, attempting to.
Doesn't have to be
I work
right
for,
away.
I work for the government, so I know how to word these things.
There you go.
I guess there was a little bit of pushback from some of the guys. So the idea is if we like,
From the PD?
yeah, so if we like thank the chief and thank the department for what they're doing, for, being on board with this adoption of these vehicles publicly, then they might feel supported, and stop with the,
Do you have a feeling for what the pushback is?
yeah,
They're fast. Those electric cars are fast.
yeah, I don't know, because they're not big and much.
They're,
They're trucks.
They're not fast enough.
I don't know.
$15,000. I've heard that term.
Well, how much?
15.
15,000?
Yeah, that's what I would have guessed, that on the Mustang, it's at least 10, 12, and the trucks are
And
definitely
it's
like
probably dropping.
15,000.
It's probably dropping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because they're getting better at it.
Yeah.
Okay, the price differential.
Is the lack of availability due to just they're in high demand?
It's again, the same old story. It's chips. It's all the,
And it's price too. And it's price too.
yeah. But we ordered the
They're
truck a long time ago, and it just keeps getting pushed back, and it's basically getting the silicon wafers from Taiwan. So it's difficult.
Okay.
Chris, you might want to just try and get a little information
I
exactly
am.
what we have.
I will.
And then make a generic letter. That's it. We don't
No,
have.
I will give them a call and,
Yeah,
and,
okay.
and see if I can talk to somebody.
All right.
I don't have a police record, so they. I think
That's
I-
not going to stop them. That's not going to stop you. All right, Charlotte, you got the floor, kiddo. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. I just would like to comment and follow up as historian for our drinking water and filling pools with drinking water from the city of Cape May. In the 1995, we realized that indeed we had so much water over the last 30 years that they're beginning to see that the Earth's tilt is becoming shifted. And these researchers are saying that we're really, really doing an awful lot of problem to our planet, and it will begin to wobble more as it spins as a result of water use. And in particular, they cite swimming pools as one of the problems for using up too much of our underground reservoirs, our aquifers. So I would love you to read that article, please, for the next meeting. This is something that can be certainly researched, but when the Environmental Commission first learned that swimming pools were going to be permitted in the city using our newly desalted water, we screamed and yelled at the then council. We were very upset with the planning board to allow all that to happen. So that's just a bit of history as it goes forward. And then finally, in terms of research, we have Canada now finding cruise ships that are dumping sewage and trash. Up to this point, they're finding vessels $200,000 per vessel. And also there's another article about that situation. And fish getting sick, our marine life may be having an uncertain future in terms of the ecosystems. And I would like you to take a look at that article too. So those are the things I would like you to think about today, and I appreciate the time to talk to you about it.
Oh, do you need a?
I think all of us agree that using our desal plant to fill a pool is completely a waste of our resources. I mean, I think we all can agree to that.
Right, we do.
Energy-wise, water-wise, it's just completely doesn't make any sense.
Well, is there I mean, I don't know if there's an ordinance or, I mean, you can truck in water, right? I mean, a lot of people fill their swimming pools with big truckloads of water. Is there anything in an ordinance or a requirement for that, or no? They can just fill it up?
No,
like a hose?
there's no such ordinance, but it
Okay.
might be a direction that we start
It's-
thinking about
Sitting on
going
the planning board,
forward.
that's never come up.
No.
on the Planning board.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like
pool
where?
issue.
I mean, it's a,
but
and
not
it,
filling them with water.
and to be honest with you, well, first of all of our water does not come from the desal plant, and I'm not sure if all the irrigation water in the city is supplied by the desal plant, because we have over 25% coming from well 8. Do I have that right? That's the one with iron in it, but it still has to be treated. But the point is no matter how you look at it, the water supply is limited at peak times in the summer. You know, we just recently ran into a situation where we were set up to buy water from Lower Township, which is how we get out of our predicaments. That can happen again if one cell goes down at the desal plant. We can't meet the drinking water requirement. I've certainly thought about it often. Townships that I've lived in before, they've required, well, actually, it was the local fire departments would, for a donation, they would bring in water, which they would probably pump from local ponds, whatever. I'm not sure how many freshwater ponds we have around here that could possibly be drained of their water either, but maybe it can come from, much farther north in New Jersey, more inland, more towards Pennsylvania. I don't know. Something to think about, but
I'd like to say, Mike Yeager, that
Well, I think that's the goal of increasing the coverage percentage to 115%, is to just really discourage people. Because most people won't want to decrease the size of their house
Right.
in order to have a pool.
Discourage and banning are two different things.
Completely agree.
Well, it could be like a liquor license. There's only so many in town, right? Or, some towns. Can we actually do that? Can we limit the number of pools in the town?
I can, well, I mean, I can,
Something to think about.
you can,
Yeager, didn't you say something about our water supply from well 5 has a moderate amount of iron content that's deironized before distribution?
yes, if I have the,
It out so that maybe that would be the only supply for present-day swimming pools rather than our desalted water?
you know, I don't have the answer for that, but I'd be surprised if the city had already not, we all, people in town that can have two different water meters. One is for irrigation, and the other is for, that which goes through the sewer. And that's really just to separate the two sources. Now, whether or not you can control, I don't think you can control which well serves which water system, so it may not be possible, but it's, it's a shame, but it would be nice if you could keep it to, all the irrigation and the pool filling would be done with well water, not with desal water. But I don't think it's possible.
Okay, just checking.
Well, we'll read those two articles for next month.
All right, thank you very much.
Anybody else have anything for the good of the order here? Yeah,
Can I just float?
go ahead.
There's quite a few other communities in New Jersey, California, who are beginning to ban two-stroke lawn maintenance equipment. Has anybody even discussed this yet in Cape May?
I see something.
I guess the point of contact for the council members who would like to see environmentally friendly policies brought to the fore, and the discussion of banning two-stroke blowers.
We can start small with just leaf blower.
That's what was suggested to me.
That's, I think, Stone Harbor. Stone Harbor may have an ordinance out. And I know the last thing I want to do or recommend is these affluent communities are the ones that are doing it, from what I've seen so far. But, if you look around and see all the lawn maintenance people, they're all hardworking,
Yeah.
and
But there's a company, a landscaping company, that is going all electric for all their big Exmark kind of car mowers and stuff, too. But, it's a big
understand
investment, but
the initial investment is expensive, but the maintenance long-term is better off.
yeah, so that.
I just would like to float the idea, because the next time you're around a leaf blower and you can't talk to the person next to you, just keep it in consideration that it's not only, I swear, at my house, I wish I had my sound dosimeter. Inside my house, it's probably 80 decibels when they're doing the lawns around my neighborhood. And the people who are operating that equipment are not wearing any hearing protection, or they're bombarded with sounds greater than 86 decibels, which is what OSHA regulates as damaging to your hearing. And
It's a process, but I can tell you, I have I have all the equipment, but my neighbor has an edger that I have to shut my doors because it emits such bad exhaust
Oh, yeah, that's,
I mean, I really have to shut my doors.
there's studies done in California that the lawn maintenance equipment in California produces more nitrogen oxides and ozone than all the combined cars in California.
Chris, see if you can get online and see if you can pull out a couple of ordinances that somebody has done.
Okay.
I mean, we're not committing to anything like that, but let's just see how people word
I'd
it.
just like to float the idea, like have everybody, at least maybe the council talk about it, or,
Yeah, just baby steps.
Yeah,
Baby
we
steps.
have a lot of,
Baby steps. Baby steps.
potential ordinances. The other one was Roundup.
Boy,
Yeah,
That
so,
get me started.
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with having regular, once you're past one, good or bad, they shut you down or they don't. We should be coming right back with another recommendation. There's nothing wrong with that. We shouldn't skip a beat, so add it to the list.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Words
And
of
I will back the
encouragement.
glyphosate. There's ordinances out there prohibiting the use.
Yeah, the Roundup one should be easy. A lot of municipalities have banned that. I mean,
Well, it's because the potential litigation and liability.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's gonna hit them in their pocketbook, that's why they're talking about it.
yeah.
I dare ask what our public works department uses. I have no idea.
We don't know.
Well, it's actually a very good herbicide. It's just that it
Yeah.
gives you non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Right? That's all.
Okay, anybody make a motion to adjourn?
I just wanted
Go
to
ahead,
say
I'm
one thing. We were going to contact the Shade Tree Commission. I don't,
Didn't we do that?
probably none of us did that. So we still need to do that. So I just wanted to remind the group.
And what was it about?
It was in reference to the invasive species on the trees. Because
what-
we wanted to figure out kind of like what is the pecking order or like order of operations in terms of reporting and get on the same page with them and Public Works and Code.
All right, look, how about we have somebody from Shade Tree come next month?
I think that's
Can we do that?
awesome, yeah.
Can you just contact somebody from Shade Tree?
Yep.
To show up for next month's meeting?
Okay.
Whoever
I
that may
think
be, Jay or whoever wants to show up.
Ruth Ann Stewart is the one who's working with Jay. So I'll contact her and ask her if she can come.
Good.
That's great.
Ruth
In
Ann.
line?
No, not at all.
Love it.
Not at all.
A question.
That's fine.
How do you contact the Shade Tree Commission? How do you go about contacting them? Is there a phone number?
Yeah, I think there's a
Yeah, they're
phone
on,
number and email.
they're on the website.
Okay.
They show up at my house.
Their members have certain areas that they cover. Like if it's a particular location, somebody would be represented on that Shade Tree would respond to that particular area.
Right. There's not an individual that you contact?
Well, there's a chairman and a vice
Okay.
chair. Was it-
I'll give you Ruth Ann's phone number.
Yes, that would be helpful, yeah.
Okay, I'll
She's probably
hand
the-
you my
I was
phone. You can write it down.
eating at Vintage the other day, and about half a dozen trees there, some are already dead, and the other ones are close, not too far behind. So, and I was saying, well, who do I report that to? I know it's the Shade Tree Committee or Commission,
Well,
but,
if she tells you
if
it's
I could-
not her, she'll tell you who.
all right, I could use that number.
Okay, but I think the conversation on the shade tree was to deal with invasives on private property.
Let them
That's
show
right.
up, and then we'll talk about it. Then we'll talk
Yeah.
about it
Okay.
next
That's
meeting.
Good.
yeah.
Yeah, the tennis club
A lot of
or the
different-
restaurant would be private property, I assume, right? So,
The
but that's,
tennis club?
right.
Yeah, who owns
No,
that?
Actually,
that's city.
that's the
Is it?
city's
City
property.
owns the tennis club.
Okay.
They lease it to the.
So that is a public,
Was their fences off?
Well, I'm sure the ivy that's growing back there extends through all of those neighbors' yards and is all one big connected
Goes all the way
plant,
to back behind
actually.
my house.
Yeah, it's all one
Ann?
thing, really. I've had, one of our neighbors had the ivy, and it came from under the street. across, like they will
3, 8,
go 12 feet
That's
under cement.
amazing
Is she the
that it's fed enough, it can make it across the street.
It was, the vine was as thick as a human limb. It was ridiculous. And we needed a saw.
Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
That's
Yes.
invasive.
Motion.
Is there a second?
That's helpful, thank you.
Second.
Turn the mics off.
Okay. Mike, is there anything in place at this point about this noise pollution issue? Like a date beyond which you can't have a gas-powered lawnmower or chainsaw? There's not a, like, 5 years from now?
There's not. And that kind of thing is, what's wrong with that? Give people plenty of time.
Yeah, give them
Get
a couple
5 years out of
years.
your lawnmower, even if you just bought it.
And just say, in the town of Cape May, after this date, these will not be permitted. And so the landscaping companies would have, say, 3 years to, I know that the next lawnmower that I buy is going to be electric.
Right.
The next chainsaw I buy, the next leaf blower, they're all going to be quiet.
Yes.
So you just have to get the word out there. So maybe at the next meeting, we could just make a recommendation.
Yeah, I mean, and give people as long as you have to, whatever's practical. I mean,
Right.
yeah.
But it